Good morning, everyone. So the next question that we are supposed to solve, this is equations where we are solving application of equations to business. So here, a traveling salesman get conveyance allowance at rupees 5 per kilometer from his employer. So there is an employer. Who is an employer? The person who is the boss or the superior will be the employer, and the person who is working under the boss is called as an employee. Okay, so here one employer is there, that is the boss, and under him there are few salesmen. So these salesmen has to travel. Okay, they have to keep traveling from one place to another. So that is why they get some extra amount known as conveyance allowance. Conveyance means for traveling they call it as conveyance. So for that conveyance they give some amount, and that is known as conveyance allowance. And that conveyance allowance is 5 rupees per kilometer that the person will be getting, because he'll have to use his bike and the fuel. Okay, so that is why they give 5 rupees per kilometer. And the salesman is traveling from Bangalore to Madras, Chennai. Okay, they've given the older name here. So the salesman is traveling from Bangalore to Madras. While going to Madras, he travels at an average speed of 64 kilometers per hour. So from Bangalore to Madras, when he is going in his vehicle, it may be two-wheeler or four-wheeler. Okay, he is going at 64 kilometer per hour. And on his return, his average speed is 80 kilometer per hour. So while coming back, he is his speed, that is from Madras to Bangalore, he is riding his vehicle at 80 kilometer per hour speed. He takes 9 hours for the double journey, which means from Bangalore to Madras and Madras to Bangalore, totally he will take 9 hours to drive. What is the distance between Bangalore and Madras? How much can be claimed as traveling allowance from his employer? So we have to find the answer for two of the questions. Now, first, what we will do is, first, we will assume that the distance between Bangalore and Madras is X kilometers. Okay, that is our first question, right? What is the distance between Bangalore and Madras? So we will, for that part, we are going to consider, x as the distance. So therefore, let x be the distance in kilometers between Bangalore and Madras. Okay, so any doubts still here? Any doubts in the question? First of all, did you all understand the question? Okay, good. So we are assuming that x will be the distance in kilometers between Bangalore and Madras. Now we know this formula, that is distance is equal to speed into time. Okay, how do we find distance? We require to find the distance. And how do we find that? The formula is speed into time. Okay, now let us change this formula a little bit so that we will be able to get the other derivations. Okay, now how am I changing the formula is, time is same. So if you see, time for both of them is same. I mean, from Bangalore to Madras and Madras to Bangalore, okay, he's totally taking 9 hours. They have not split the number of hours he's traveling. So since totally it is 9 hours, so I'm taking time to one side and I'm going to keep the speed and distance on the other side. So the formula will become distance divided by speed. Okay, that is division. distance divided by speed. Fine. Now, using this, we will be deriving the next part. Yeah. The next derivation is using the same distance by speed. Let us see what we can do. So, Bangalore to Madras, we are calculating the time taken separately. Totally, we know it is 9 hours, right? But we don't know separately. So we are assuming Bangalore to Madras is equal to time taken is equal to. Now we already defined the equation saying time is equal to distance by speed. So from Bangalore to Madras, what is the speed? He is going at 64 kilometers per hour. That is the speed. And the distance covered will be x, because we do not know the distance completely yet. Okay, so x is the distance divided by 64 kilometer per hour is the time taken. Next, similarly, Madras to Bangalore, the time taken will be x distance divided by 80 kilometers per hour. So while coming back, he is riding at 80 kilometers per hour. Okay. What is the total time taken? Total time taken means overall for going from Bangalore to Madras and coming back to Bangalore, he is taking 9 hours. Did you all understand this part? Bangalore to Madras and Madras to Bangalore and the total time taken. Everybody understood? Okay. Now, what we will be doing is, we know what is the time taken for Bangalore to Madras. What is the time taken? X by 64 is the time taken, this part. X by 64 is the time taken for Bangalore to Madras, and while returning, the time taken is X by 80. And the total number of hours was 9. So let us equate all of this. So from Bangalore to Madras, he is taking X by 64, and from Madras to Bangalore, he is taking X by 80. And what is the total number of hours? The total number of hours is 9. Now, this is the equation we get, and we have to solve this equation. Okay, clear? Now, quickly solve this equation. You have x by 64 plus x by 80 is equal to 9. What is the multiplication? You have to take LCM here. 64 into 80. How much is it? How much is 64 into 80? Five one two zero. Now I have to do the cross multiplication. 80x plus 64x is equal to 9. Now if I take 5120 on the other side, 80x plus 64x is equal to 9 into 5120. So 5120 into 9 will give me how much? 80x plus, okay, here also we will add it up. On this side, I get 46080, and here 80 minus 64 is, sorry, 80 plus 64. 144x. So x is equal to 46080 divided by 144. How much do you get? 46080 divided by 144 will give me x is equal to 320 kilometers. What was x? X was the distance in kilometers between Bangalore and Madras. So between Bangalore and Madras, there is 320 kilometers. Okay. So this is how we got the, x is equal to distance. This is how we got the kilometers. Now we have to write the conclusion. So write down, therefore, the distance between Bangalore and Madras is 320 kilometers. So this is the answer for first question. Now if you see the other question, you have another question asked. How much can be claimed as traveling allowance from his employer? Okay. Now this salesman is getting 5 rupees per kilometer. And how much can he claim? So he has been traveling 320 kilometers plus 320 kilometers. How 320 plus 320? See, the amount of traveling allowance or conveyance allowance claimed is equal to 320 plus 320 into 5. From Bangalore to Madras, 320 kilometers. From Madras to Bangalore, 320 kilometers. Good. Going and coming back. Okay. So we have 640 kilometers into 5, which is nothing but he can claim 3,220 rupees. Sorry, 3,200 rupees. Okay. So this is the traveling allowance that the salesman will get. Understood? Everybody? Did everyone understand? Any doubts? Can we go to the next question then? Yeah, correct. Traveling allowances 3,200. Correct. Okay. Now the next question. The weekly wages in a construction industry are 480 and 370 for the male and female laborers respectively. Okay. So for male as well as female, they have given separate rates. Okay. For male, it is 480 rupees. For female, it is 370 rupees. Then the building contractor agreed to raise the wages by an equal amount, subject to the condition that a man's wages is 20% more than women's wages. So when a contractor raises their wages, that is salary, okay, so when he raises some equal amount, at that time the man's wages will be 20% more than women's wages. Okay, if the contractor employed 5 men and 10 women, what will be his weekly wages cost? So we have to understand that. A very easy problem. So let us start solving it by deriving the variables. So what is the question? What will be his weekly wages cost? So from there only we have to derive the x. So firstly, let the wages increase per week. So what are we trying to do here? Instead of taking direct weekly wages cost, we are trying to find the increase first. Okay. Why are we doing that? Because if you see here, I have highlighted equal amount, right? So since it is an equal amount, I can assume one variable for this and find that variable. So I will be able to get the new wages of men and women, and it will be easy for me to find the cost. I'll repeat it again. Please understand. The contractor is increasing wages equally. Equally means, now see, 480, 370 are old wages. Okay. Now let's say he is increasing 100 rupees. 100 rupees, 100 rupees. Okay. Now this resultant, whatever we get, this amount should be 20% more than this amount. Okay. Now what is our duty, or what we are trying to find out first is, we are trying to find out this equal amount. So that is why we consider this equal amount as X. So once we find this equal amount, then we can add them with the old wages and find the new wages of each of them. Did you all understand the question? Yes. Everybody understood the question? Any doubts? Okay, I presume everybody understood then. Let the wage increase per week be X. I'll write P down. Okay, B X. Okay, now the next one. New wages for male workers. New wages for male workers. What was the old wage? Old wage was 480 rupees. What is the increase? Increase will be X. Correct? So this will be the new wages per week. Old wages plus the increase will be the new wages per week. Now similarly, for the female workers, new wages for female workers is equal to, what is the old wage? 370 plus the increase in the wages is X. So this will be the new wage per week. So did you all understand this part of the derivation? Yes, no, can you please reply quickly? Okay. Now, further, let's see the question once again. The building contractor agreed to raise the wages by an equal amount, that is X here, subject to the condition that a man's wages is 20% more than women's wage. Subject to condition that a man's wages is 20% more than women's wage. This is what we are trying to derive. So, what will happen is, man's wages, the new wages once after increase, okay, so the man's wages should be 20% more than women's women's wage. Okay, now already his 480 rupees is already there. So we are considering that 100% of 480 rupees plus the increase. What is the increase percentage? 20%. So now totally women's wage. Okay, women's wage will be 120% of men's wage. The 20% increase is there, right? So listen here once again. I'm again repeating it. Man's wage, one person's wage is 480 rupees. So I am considering 100% of his amount. Plus, what is that increase that the man will get? 20%. There will be difference between man and women's wages, right? So that 20% also, if I add, now women's wage. Okay, sorry, this is ulta. Now the man's wage will be 120% of women's wage. Now man is getting more, 120%, and women is getting less. So man's wages will be 120% of women's wages. Did you understand now? That is how you find the relation and find the equation. Did you understand, or you want me to repeat it again? Okay, fine. Listen. I have no problem repeating it, but I just want you people to understand things clearly. Now, man is getting 480 rupees per week. Okay, and the contractor told he will increase X amount. Now, I am considering 100% of 480. So I am taking full 480 amount. Plus, I am also giving 20% more. How 20% more? They have given in the question stating that man's wages will be 20% more than women's wage. So man is getting more amount, right? So man is getting more amount, that is 20%. So 120% is the salary or the percentage of wages that man will get. Now 120% of what? So man's wages, he will get 120% of women's wages. Okay. Now let us take for example, if women's wages 100 rupees. Okay. So 120% of 100, how much do you get? 100 into 120%. You get 120 rupees. So what is man's wages? 220 rupees. Did you understand this? Suppose if women's wage is 100 rupees, for example, okay, now I have to add 120% of this 100, which is 120 rupees. So what is the total of these two? The total of these two is 220. So man's wages will be 220 rupees. So when you compare man's and women's wage, what is man's wage and women's wage? When you compare 220 and 100 here, okay, there should be 20% difference. Did you understand? Any doubts now? Everybody understood? Okay. Then let us derive this equation and solve it quickly. Now 480 plus x is the wages, old wage, sorry, 480 plus x is the man's wages, is equal to 120% means 120 by 100. So if you do 120 by 100, you get 1.2. So I'm writing that short form 1.2 into new wages of women, that is 370 plus x. Okay. Now quickly simplify this. How much do you get? 480 plus x is equal to 1.2 into 370 is 444 plus 1.2 x. Okay, get all the numbers to one side and variables to the other side. So 480 minus 444 is equal to 1.2x minus x. So 480 minus 444 will give me 36, and 1.2x minus 1 is 0.2x. So 36 by 0.2 is equal to x. So what is the x value? Therefore, x is equal to 180. So the increase in the, this is rupees, okay, the increase in the salary is 180 rupees. Okay, so we got the increase in the value of the wages. Now let us find out the total wage cost. Okay, now to find the total wage cost, we know what is new wages per week. Now for men, how much it is? It is 480 plus x, that is 480 plus 180. So how much is he getting? Rupees 660. And for women, 370 plus x, that is 370 plus 180, it is 550. Okay, now what is the no need to find total here. So we know this is the new wages. Oops. This is the new wages per week for men and women. Okay, now let us find the total wages. So total wages cost per week for men, it is 660 rupees. But how many men are there as per the question? If you see here, if the contractor employed 5 men and 10 women. So there are 5 men who are working. So I will consider 5 men. And for women, it is 550 rupees and there are 10 women. So 660 into 5 will give me 3,300. And 550 into 10 will give me 5,500. So therefore, total wages per week is rupees 8,800. Okay, so we found out the total wages per week. Understood? Any doubts here? Any doubts? Okay, now going to the last question of this chapter. Okay, if we finish this, we are done with the equations chapter. Okay, so listen. Suppose that a price of P rupees, each manufacturer will supply to the market 3P square minus 4P units of a product, and consumers will demand to buy 24 minus P square units At what value of P for which demand equals supply, the market is in equilibrium. Find the equilibrium price P. Now here they have not given you the numbers, but they have given you the equations directly. So what we will be doing here is we have to find out the equilibrium price. What is equilibrium price? Equilibrium price is nothing but when the demand price, okay, we would be demanding at certain price. If that is equal to the price that we are getting, then it is called as equilibrium price P. Correct. Both demand as well as supply will be equal. Now, if you see this question, the first sentence is talking about the supply of the manufacturer. The manufacturer will supply to the market 3p square minus 4p units. So, he is gonna supply 3p square minus 4p units. Okay, and the consumers are also demanding to buy 24 minus p square units. So I am just equating both at equilibrium, that is demand as well as supply. So since they have given direct equations, we are going to take those direct expression. Now let us do some simplification for this. Now if you see here, let us take p squares to one side and keep the constant to the other side. Okay, we can do that. So what will happen? 24 minus p square minus 3p. I'm taking everything to one side. P square plus 4p is equal to 0. Okay, now if you see here, minus p minus 3p square. How much do I get? Minus 4p square. Correct? So I get my 24 minus 4p square plus 4p is equal to 0. Let us rewrite this in the ax square plus bx plus c format. So how much do you get? Minus 4p square plus 4p plus 24 is equal to 0. I'm just redefining the equations then and there. So any doubts until here? Did you all understand this part? No doubts. Okay. How about others? Everybody understood? Fine. Now, if you see this equation, 4 is common in all of the variables. Okay. So let us take out that 4. So to take out that 4, I'm going to divide the equation. Divide equation by 4. Okay. So what do we get? We had, okay, what I'll do is I will divide it. Yeah, I'll also have to divide it by minus. First, we will divide it by 4 so that we get the value. So 4, I'll get minus p, then plus p, and then plus 6 is equal to 0. Now, I'm going to divide the equation, sorry, multiply the equation with minus. So if I multiply equation with minus into minus is plus, sorry, p square. So I get p square plus p, very sorry. Now if you multiply minus into minus is plus p square, minus into plus is minus p, minus into plus is minus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, now just factorize this. Here a is equal to 1, B is equal to -1, C is equal to -6. You can either use formula method or you can use factorization method and find the answer. Okay, so let us factorize normally because it's very easy to do it. So A into C, 1 into -6 is -6. Now find the factors for -6. We have 3, 2. Correct? So what we will do is -3 into +2 we will take. So here what will happen? P square minus 3p plus 2p minus 6 is equal to 0. Are you all able to follow? Yes? I'm being a bit fast here because we have done enough problems in this factorization part. Okay, next. P square. Now we'll have to take the common ones. Sorry. So what will happen here is P, if I take common, I will have P minus 3. And again, here I will take P minus 3 common. So I'll have to take 2 as the other number is equal to 0. So P plus 2 into P minus 3 is equal to 0. P plus 2 is equal to 0 or P minus 3 is equal to 0. P is equal to -2 or P is equal to +3. Okay. Now we have to ignore the negative sign. So ignoring -2, the equilibrium price is equal to 3, or you can write it as equilibrium price P is equal to 3. So this is the final answer. Everybody understood? Yes? Okay. So this completes our equation chapter. So tomorrow we will start with the new chapter or the next class. Okay.